Okay, so I bought the world's cheapest C trumpet, and the question is, how bad could it possibly be? So it's a Coppergate CTP-500, and I paid £122 for it. Coppergate is a brand that belongs to a British company called Gear4Music.com, and they operate from York. They're a big box seller, really. They sell all sorts of instruments. So this video has been done without particularly good audio. I just did it on my camera, phone thing. I do the unboxing, I have a look at it, I check the tuning, I do a few things to try and improve the tuning. Then I'll do a bit of playing on it, which I'll edit on the end. So it's a bit of a haphazard video with lots of cuts in it. But it should give you an idea of what's possible for very little money. I paid £122 for it. I think they're 250 new. I have a history with C trumpets. C trumpets are not commonly played in the UK or until the 1990s, around about 1990s, 2000, they started to teach them in music colleges here. Orchestral trumpets were in B flat. I bought a C trumpet in the 1980s because I was doing a lot of playing in church and I was fed up having to play in a lot of sharp keys with guitars. The first one I got was a Blessing, which was quite a cheap instrument. It was 350 quid at the time. I was young and foolish. I played the Michael Haydn Concerto in C on that trumpet, and it's got a top G in it. You probably don't even know the Michael Haydn Concerto in C because everyone does the one in D because it goes up to an A, because we're all macho men in the trumpet world. Prefer the one in C, so I did it on that, and it's hard to believe, really. I wouldn't even consider doing that now. I also did the Hummel Concerto in E, the original key, because it actually works really well on a C trumpet. And then eventually I got rid of it. I had to get rid of some instruments when I got married and I wasn't really using it at that point. So many years later I bought a Bach 239H, and it had a heavyweight bell and it had a full-size B-flat trumpet tuning slide, which was inside a reverse tuning slide with a little hook that hung out over the end of the tuning slide. That really felt like a B-flat trumpet to play, although it was a large bore. I suppose my interest in C trumpet at the moment is to get rid of some of the transposition. I was intending to buy a decent trumpet and I thought, let's see how bad cheap trumpets are now, because I haven't had a cheap trumpet for a long time. All my instruments, I play Vincent Bach B-flat trumpet or Schilke. I've got a Schilke, I've also got a Yamaha, I've got a Scherzer. They're all professional level instruments. I don't own any cheap instruments really, so I thought it'd be interesting to try it. So I'm sorry for this long ramble, which I will cut down before I stick it on. You will now hopefully be able to hear what I'm saying as I am unboxing this trumpet, and then I'll give it a clean and give it a play and see how it goes. I hope you find it interesting. Second hand, made in China, of course. How bad can it be? Time will tell. I will unbox it and I'll let you have a look. So here it is, in all its glory. I don't think it's been used much. It's got backpack straps in the case, of course, and it's medium-large instrument. I think there's going to be some issues here. It's going to need thoroughly cleaned. The valve's got them down. It's in remarkably good condition. Got a bit of marking there. So the next step is going to be to clean this, and then I will come back and do a bit of talking about what it's like. Actually, the slides are fine, they've just been greased rather than oiled. So what I'm going to do is take it apart, clean it, and do another video where I demonstrate it and we see how the tuning is on it, because tuning on C trumpets is particularly iffy. You get all sorts of notes that don't work on the larger bore ones, but this being a medium large, it might work a little bit better. So we shall see. Okay, well, here it is. It's all cleaned up now, and I thought I'd give you a brief tour of of the instrument. Superficially, it's a bit like a Bach trumpet. You can see it's got the hexagonal mouthpiece receiver. It has lacquered, I think they're lacquered nickel-plated slides. The top and bottom caps also look quite like Bach, although I haven't checked the threads yet. I'll do that in a minute. The water keys are hexagonal, like a Bach. The finger hook isn't like a Bach. And of course the first valve thumb saddle is not right up against the tuning slide, and I suspect that's because that's quite a difficult thing to align correctly. And also it has longer sections here because of the way they've manufactured it, so they couldn't get right in there. The second valve tuning slide is also at 90 degrees, which is the same as on a Bach C trumpet. When I cleaned it, I found that the tuning slides had been done with grease rather than oil. They also have a bit of corrosion on them, which I didn't have the correct polish to take that off. I'll get that out of the garage and sort that in due course, get them a bit more mobile. The bore size of this is a bit confusing. I'm just checking what the manufacturers say. They're claiming it's 0.467, which it cannot possibly be. Medium large would be 0.459, so the next thing is to try checking that with calipers and see where we get to. Be interesting to see where this comes to. Well, I'm getting 11.1, 11.23. Let's check that again. 11.19. So we'll do it in inches for the camera. Yeah, I'm pretty certain this is 0.459. Just based on the valve block. It's a standard Chinese valve block. And in fact 0.459 fits in. Just. So it's a medium large instrument, 0.459 or thereabouts. When I was cleaning it, I discovered that it's full of limescale. Limescale is an issue that we don't really get in Scotland because we have soft water. This instrument came from England. I'm going to have to clean it with vinegar or lemon juice or something to dissolve that. There is quite a significant build-up, not in the valves, which are stainless steel, but in the tuning slides. It's really quite remarkable how much build-up there is, particularly in the main tuning slide. So I'll have to deal with that. So one of the questions is it actually Bach thread sizes? And I suspect not, but this is a Bach heavy valve cap. I'll try that on it. And no, it is not a Bach valve size. And what I've got here, these are Chinese standard threads. These were bought for very little money, a few pounds, a couple of years ago. Is it standard Chinese threads? No, it's not. Interesting. So it's not Chinese threads either. This is the Carol brass bottom cap. This is interesting because my idea is that if the tone isn't stable enough, I'll either fit a Dennis Wick tone collar or a couple of heavy caps. And no, it's not Carol brass either. So that's interesting. I don't know what size that is at all. So we haven't got to the bottom of that yet. My idea is that if the tone is unstable or the tuning is unstable, sometimes adding a little bit of weight to the third valve casing can help with that. Because this is a very, very light trumpet. I'm trying to think, this is about the same weight as my piccolo trumpet. It's a fraction of the weight of a Bach, really. I mean, I haven't weighed it, but it's a light instrument. I would say though that the bell is actually ringing. It is fairly well constructed. The valve action is particularly good, although it has the artificial, it's not real mother of pearl buttons, but the valve action, although it's heavy, is pretty precise, and the valve alignment is not bad either. It has an offset port there, which I suppose is normal in most trumpets now, which helps with the airflow through the instrument. When I cleaned it, there was quite a lot of debris came out, and that debris was metallic. And some of it was limescale, but there was some little bits of what looked like solder and things coming out. But I gave it a really very tough scrub inside, every single bit. I didn't put it through the ultrasonic cleaner, which I could have done, but I just wanted to give it a basic go so that I could play it. So this is the tuner set up, and I'm going to play some open notes and see what the tuning's like. I've warmed up a little bit. But we'll try some of the problem notes, which are the D on the fourth line, that type of thing. So we'll start with the bottom C. the third space is a little bit sharp. D is also a bit sharp, so I'm going to pull the main tuning slide out slightly. So if I tune the A, or concert A, that's with the trigger slightly out, which is what you would expect for an A. Now we'll see what the D on the fourth line is like. A little bit sharp. Overall, I would say tuning slide needs to be probably about that far out. This is a Austin Custom Brass O backbore, which is very open. I'm going to go and try something else and see if it changes the tuning at all. I'm going to try this. This is a Yamaha John Wallace signature mouthpiece. It's got a big, I think it's a 24 throat, and it's quite shallow, V-shaped mouthpiece. So the tuning slide needs to come out a bit. It's hard to say really. I mean, obviously there's variation, but my B flat trumpet's the same when I look at it on a tuner. But this does improve the tuning quite a bit compared to the Warburton. What I'm going to do now is try the Warburton, but on a tighter backbore. Okay, this is the 1MC, but I'm using a Warburton Ronald Rom C trumpet backbore. Well, that's much more closely in tune. Well, I've got to say that the C trumpet backbore does make a difference. It is fractionally shorter. It has a strange taper inside it. I mean, I've been using it on D trumpet, but it clearly has some impact here. Yeah, I mean, it works. That feels quite tight though as a mouthpiece. I think going to a tighter backbore does make a difference with this instrument. As far as tuning is concerned, I'm going to try a Dennis Wick tone collar and see if that makes any difference. Dennis Wick tone collars, the larger one is, they're both the same weight, but the larger one is for cornet valve casing. I'm never sure what's going to fit what. So the idea is that we put this on the third valve. Got to take this off as well. Just sits on there. Yeah, that fits on. No. Interesting, it doesn't actually fit. Okay, so we'll try this one. This is often the case that you need a cornet one on a trumpet for this very reason. Right, that's it tight. So we'll see if that makes any difference to the tuning. does. And it's often the case that stability in the valve casing is an issue. But that gives an idea of how this can be made into quite a decent trumpet. I would say that it sounds fuller with the additional weight on the third valve. Yeah, that's a surprisingly decent sounding trumpet now, and the response is more what I'm used to with a heavier trumpet. Bottom C does seem a little bit low still. Now what about the ability to bend pitches? And I think that's the problem. At the bottom end you can bend the pitch on this quite substantially. Okay, so I'm just jumping back in. As a bit of finale to this, I did manage to make it play in tune. I think it would require a different choice of mouthpiece. Certainly not the one that came with it, which was a generic Chinese 7C. The fourth line D is actually not bad on this instrument, and that's because it's not a large bore. The medium and medium large bore C trumpets tend to play more in tune because they are proportionately more correct, really. It improved dramatically with a bit of extra weight on the third valve tuning slide, third valve, and I need to have a look at what I can do maybe in the way of heavy caps. I suspect it's Jupiter threads. Would I recommend you buy this? If you have problems with transposition and you may be playing in church or in groups with guitars, I think a C trumpet does make some sort of sense. The difficulty you would have with this if you only play B flat instruments is adjusting to the notes not being in the right places. It's easier for me because I play E flat D trumpet and piccolo trumpet. I'm used to playing instruments in different pitches, and I think that can be very difficult to get used to start with. I think also C trumpets do feel different from B flat trumpets because they have a shorter lead pipe. Overall, I think this is a perfectly viable instrument. Is it worth £230? Probably. You're going to get a warranty with it. You could send it back to me if it didn't work. This second-hand one is not without its problems. It needs really a chemical clean to sort out the lime scale in it. But it's a viable instrument, but especially if you put some weight on that third valve. I think that not only helps the tuning, but I think the feedback to the mouthpiece end feels better, and the tone felt not thicker, but it felt more secure, and the overall instrument felt more secure. The difficulty with it is the bottom end is not as easily in tune as it should be. Possible to bend the notes considerably, so an inexperienced player might have difficulty playing this in tune in the low register. I suspect that adding further weight to it might help with that, but I haven't got any way of doing that because I don't have any heavy caps that would fit it. I think that's something that could be experimented with. But it's a viable option if you don't want to spend a lot on a C trumpet. How long will it last? No idea. Probably not repairable. One of the problems with the Chinese instruments, I don't have it handy, but the sections, the pipes where they go into the valve blocks are usually cut very short, which makes it quite difficult to do major repair work on them. But it's a relatively cheap thing, and worth a go. So I hope you found that enjoyable, and I hope this video hasn't gone on too long to bore the pants off you. Thank you.